link up, baby. You just hit my line for the wind down. There's only one thing on my mind when you come around me. I get lost in where you found me. Want you to use me. You let her confuse me. Don't wanna hide the fact that you make me feel that way. Want you to give me play. I see it in your eyes, you're lonely. Come put that body on me. I hit it right, I will. I treat you right, I will. Trust me, I got you, baby. Know how to make you feel. They can't do you like I will. Nobody do you like I will. I hit it right, I will. I treat you right, I will. Trust me, I got you, baby. Know how to make you feel. They can't do you like I will. They can't do you like I will. Like I will.
I treat you right, I will.
I treat you right, I will.
Trust me, I got you, baby. Know how to make you feel. I treat you right, I will.
I treat you right, I will.
Trust me, I got you, baby. Know how to make you feel.
I hit it right, I will. I treat you right, I will. Trust me, I got you, baby. Know how to make you feel. I hit it right, I will. I treat you right, I will. They can't do you like I will. Like I will. Pick up the phone, little baby. You got me up and I'm wavy. You know I want you to myself. You know you've been driving me crazy. Looking me right in the eye and tell me it's mine. If not, I'ma make it that way. You know I want you in a major way. I bless that body, make you share your grace. I've been trying to get you face to face. Fall through and give you ways to waste. I do what it takes. I make them walls sing on your heartstrings. Hey,
I treat you right, I will. I treat you right, I will.
trust me, I got you, baby.
Know how to make you feel. I treat you right, I will.
I hit it right, I will.
Trust me, I got you, baby.
Know how to make it feel. I hit it right, I will.
Trust me, I got you, baby. I treat you right, I will. Trust me, I got you, baby. Know how to make you feel.
You guys see StreamYard's acting crazy. What's good with it? What's good? Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Shout out to everybody that's in the building. If you guys have not smashed that like button yet, please take a moment, smash that like button. Also, if you guys have not hit that bell, hit that bell. If you guys have done both, make sure you guys hit those emoji at the bottom of the screen. All right. Shout out to everybody that is in the building early. It's good to see each and every one of you all. I'm going to shout out all of the early birds. But first, if you guys can hear me okay, please give me a thumbs up or a radiation emoji in the chat. If you guys cannot hear me, then give me a thumbs down or an angry face, and I'll try to work on fixing it, all right? Shout out to Carla Lockhart. Shout out to Miss Nisi. What's good with it, Miss Nisi? We got Black Spider in the building. We got Patricia Slade in the house. We got Percy Earl III. Shout out to you, Percy Earl. We got Katsy in the building. Shout out to Katsy. What's good with it, Katsy? We got Jesse Paris. We got DSA. We got AB Promotions. We got DC Precise. We got my man Carlton Way. Shout out to Carlton. Carlton said it would be funny if the migrants were bumping this song on the bus. Yo, that would be hilarious. They would have probably had a reggaeton version of it, though. You know what I'm saying? Oh, man, they'll have the Bad Bunny featuring Archangel version. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to DeAndre. We got my man AB Promotions in the building. Shout out to Jay Cage. What's good with it, bro? We got Ty Valentine in the house. And shout out to Lloyd Sky 9. What's good with it? All right, so what we're going to do, we're going to try to run through this stream as quickly as possible. All right, as you guys can see, I've been trying to make the streams a little bit shorter. That way, if we make the streams a little bit shorter, I can try to cover more content, you know, throughout the day instead of having a long stream and then a lot of the topics kind of get missed. I want to try to be able to make sure that, you know what I'm saying, we talk about a lot of stuff because there's a lot of stuff that's going on. You know what I'm saying? So the first thing that we're going to talk about is this situation right here. A lot of the Illinois lawmakers went to Texas to visit the border. Now, my question to you all is, what do you all think they saw at the border? And shout out to AB Promotions. Yeah, I got a stream about old girl coming up. How many people saw the stream that I did about Brick Lady? If you guys saw the stream that I did about Brick Lady, give me a thumbs up. If y'all didn't, then give me a thumbs down. Yeah, Percy Earl. That's a good strong that's a good strong FBA name. His nickname probably June, and he's probably the third June. You know what I'm saying? Let's get it.
Illinois lawmakers clash over the state's ever-changing migrant situation.
At the same time, Chicago officials say they are pausing efforts to open additional shelters. Casey Cron is live in Studio 32 with the latest. Casey.
Tia and Dawn, to stay within the new arrivals budget, the mayor's office says it is focusing on out-migration, creating space in the city's 28 shelters that already exist, and prioritizing families and migrants with disabilities. As the city
prioritizing families and migrants with disabilities. Here's the question, though. Over who? Who are they prioritizing these individuals over is the question. Shout out to Beach Material. What's good with it, bro? And shout out to Jesse. What's good with you, Jess?
Migration, creating space in the city's 28 shelters that already exist, and prioritizing families and migrants with disabilities. As the city
hey, shout out to Percy Earl III. He said, I got a homeboy named Junebug. Bro, we all either got a homeboy, an uncle, or a cousin named June or Junebug. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know I'm telling the truth.
Shifts its focus to resettlement. Officials are turning to the state to establish more shelters. Meanwhile, some Republican lawmakers are sharing what they saw during a recent visit to the border.
In 1 week last summer, 57 bodies were found on this farm. The garbage, the clothes, the human biological matter, and other debris piled and scattered all over the border area.
Man, he said human biological matter. And what else I'm trying to figure out is why is homeboy wearing that zip up under the sports jacket? Homeboy beaten to his own drum.
He piled and scattered all over the border area.
The state reps who visited make up the Illinois Freedom Caucus.
It was an experience that is just gut-wrenching. These folks are being told that they're coming to a country that's going to take care of them when they get here. Unfortunately, that's not the case.
The Illinois GOP now responding to information.
So now here's my question. If the United States isn't capable of successfully dealing with a misinformation campaign that's causing a migrant crisis, how are they planning on dealing with cyber attacks and more high-tech type issues, more advanced type attacks on the United States? They can't even stop paper planes going out to these migrants. So how do they plan on dealing with this? Shout out to Get Noticed with Nikki. What's good with it?
That came to light in a recent report by WTTW. It alleges that city officials were made aware of unsanitary conditions at a Pilsen migrant shelter in the fall, the same shelter where a 5-year-old boy was living before he died in December. Republican lawmakers now calling for the city and state to reverse sanctuary status.
It is unsustainable. It will drive the state into bankruptcy.
Uh-oh, what did he just say? What did he just say? Y'all know what to do when they say unsustainable. Shout out to Crew Reality. What's good with it, bro? You heard what he said. So again, I don't know, to the people that are new to the channel, there's a lot of people, you know, that are new to the channel. Shout out to all of y'all who are new to the channel. If you're new to the channel, my advice for you is to watch all of the Undocumented Bros videos, because literally a while ago, we were saying that this is unsustainable. Facts. You guys see DC Precise. You guys see Win Loser Rug. You guys see Tedra Mitchell. Anytime you guys hear the mainstream media say unsustainable, make sure you guys put those emoji into the chat.
To reverse sanctuary status.
It is unsustainable. It will drive the state into bankruptcy and will create a chaos that we'll never be able to recover from.
Just yesterday, Governor Pritzker announced $17 million in...
Now, that Republican lawmaker, he sounds a lot like Eric Adams, doesn't he? Didn't Mayor Eric Adams say that this migrant crisis will destroy New York City? Listen here, son. I know you got the brothers over there. Listen to the drill rap. The kids out here on the street acting like they don't have no damn sense. But listen to me when I tell you this. Where the mother be? You understand? Son, this migrant crisis is 7:30. This migrant crisis is 7:30. And if we don't do something about it, it's curtains. It's curtains. This migrant crisis here will destroy New York City. Y'all remember that? If y'all remember that, give me a thumbs up. If y'all don't remember that, give me a thumbs down. Of course, it was a little bit different how he said it, but essentially the same thing.
Sanctuary status.
It is unsustainable. It will drive the state into bankruptcy and will create a chaos that we'll never be able to recover from.
Just yesterday, Governor Pritzker announced $17 million in additional funding to support migrants. Most of it will be made available to suburbs that agreed to house new arrivals, but it comes with a stipulation. They cannot use that money to transport migrants to other cities. Dawn?
Casey, thank you. As migrants continue to be dropped off in the suburbs, another suburb has a new bus ordinance. Shaw Local is reporting the Crystal Lake City Council unanimously approved fines for buses who drop new arrivals off without notice.
So again, as we go through the backlog, right? Because there's a backlog on the Undocumented Bros content because it's just so much of it that I can't keep up, and I'm trying really hard across all 3 channels to make sure that I get all the updated information out there. The suburbs of Chicago have been at war with Chicago as a result of Texas dropping off migrants in the suburbs to attempt to avoid the fines and fees from Chicago. So now what has happened is that the suburbs have followed suit, and they're also creating legislation and policies to block out the bus companies from Texas from being able to do that, and they're also suing these companies. Okay?
Violators face fines between $500 and $750 per violation. The ordinance also requires bus companies to submit an application, which costs $350 at least 1 week before they drop any migrants off.
Okay, so there's that. All right. So now the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to take a look at this video here. And this video is going to talk about some proposed changes that the lawmakers are making. All right. So give me 1 second here. Let me just get this video queued up. My apologies, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, hold on real quick. Let me see what we got going on here. All right, there we go. So now what I want you guys to understand is that there is literally no city that is dealing with migrants that's winning right now. Literally every single city that is dealing with the migrant crisis head on is not only losing miserably, but those cities are bleeding money and bleeding resources profusely. So much so that there's a foreseeable end date, and that foreseeable end date is not a foreseeable end of the crisis date. It's a foreseeable end of sustainability date. Okay. Real quick, ladies and gentlemen, we got 44 people watching. Shout out to all of you. I appreciate it. And we got 33 likes. If everybody can bang on that like button and get us to 50, that'd be great.
Now to the migrant crisis. State lawmakers made their way back to Springfield today, and already they're coming up with ways to address the influx of people arriving here from Texas. At last count, more than 33,000 migrants have arrived in the city of Chicago, and it doesn't look like it will end anytime soon. Our Charlie Wojciechowski has more on the moves that are being made in Springfield.
As lawmakers return to Springfield, the migrant crisis in Chicago moves to the top of the priority list. Republicans today introducing a package of legislation designed to strip Illinois of its sanctuary status and make it a less attractive alternative for asylum seekers.
Now, here's my question. Where were these Republican lawmakers when the people at the city council were trying to get the sanctuary city status back on the vote? How come these Republican lawmakers did not come to those sanctuary city status meetings or any of the city council meetings to try to voice their opinions about that? Do you think it possibly because there was too many black people from Chicago there? They went all the way to Texas, but they couldn't go to a city council meeting right there in Chicago. Don't you? If you find that odd, give me a thumbs up. If you don't find that odd, give me a thumbs down.
Our job as elected officials is to protect those taxpayers that pay our salaries, that pay for everything under this dome.
Local property taxpayers are going to foot this bill for the migrant crisis that are coming.
After a letter to Texas Governor Greg Abbott asking him to show mercy and stop sending busloads of migrants to Illinois during sub-zero temperatures was rebuffed.
Yo, man, Greg Abbott got these people out here asking him to show mercy. Shout out to Alonda. Do you know how bad you look if you're sitting up there asking, "Oh, please, oh, show mercy, oh"? Really? They just don't make people like how they used to. Shout out to my man James Sumler. What's good with it?
Governor J.B. Pritzker personally paid for full-page ads like this one in 5 Texas newspapers, pleading with his Republican counterpart, please, while winter is threatening vulnerable people's lives, suspend your transports and do not send more people to our state.
It's dangerous. It's dangerous to send a busload of migrants who don't have jackets, who don't have shoes, proper shoes.
Isn't it dangerous for them to make the decision to come to the United States with all of those same disparities? Isn't that dangerous as well? How come the danger of that decision is never explored? I mean, why is that never explored? Those are viable questions, right? Like these questions that I'm asking, these are fair to be asked, right? You all would ask the same questions, right?
To a climate like we're in right now.
Here at the city's official landing zone, most of the warming buses and the migrants who are staying in them are gone, but preparations here remain in place. But the city saw no new buses yesterday and is expecting none today. A dozen of the new arrivals have been relocated to the warming center at the Harold Washington Library.
The average resident of Illinois, once they hear about this, they're shocked that we're spending this much money.
Costs, a major concern for Illinois Republicans as well. As they say, they hope to stave off tax increases to pay for migrant services.
You see, now, according to these Republicans here, they want to try to stop some of this to allegedly avoid tax increases. Okay? Now, what's been done to work on any of this is beyond me. I haven't heard anything. Now, we're going to take a look at something that J.B. Pritzker is talking about. J.B. Pritzker wants state lawmakers to backfill $160 million in migrant crisis funding. What do you all think about that? Should they be able to get that money? If you guys think that they should get that money, give me a thumbs up. If you guys don't think that they should get that money, then give me a thumbs down. $160 million. Now, I want to know, to anybody who lives in one of these cities that are dealing with this, or to people watching, what people need to understand is that these small areas, these areas are areas that have hyper initiated Democrat policies. If the Democrats have their way, the entire United States would be modeled after what goes on in one of these cities. These cities are places where Democrats have full control. And what I want people to look at is look at the outcome of what full Democrat control looks like. My question is, do you want that where you live at? If you do not want that where you live at, my question for you all is, how do you plan to deter it? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section, because that question then leads into the question of the 2024 election. Strategy.
And to Chicago's migrant crisis now, Governor J.B. Pritzker answering questions today about what the state can do to thwart the continued flow of buses and planes that have now brought more than 30,000 migrants here in the past year. NBC5 investigates. Bennett Haberly spoke with the governor about that and the need for more federal aid.
At the city's landing zone, there are more than 300 people waiting to find a spot in a temporary shelter. The lack of space has forced migrants arriving in Chicago to sleep on city buses or utilize warming tents.
This is a cheap political stunt perpetrated by a governor in Texas who is simply trying to score points.
Speaking at a news conference, Governor J.B. Pritzker blamed.
Now, here's my question. I do agree, right? I do agree that this is a political stunt. However, my question is, where did any of these people think that the migrants were going to go? All of these people who are sanctuary cities, like, that's great. That's nice. Congratulations. But what did you think was going to happen? When did you think that you would have to actually be a sanctuary city? See, what the problem is that they wanted to be sanctuary city in talk. And now that they have to be a sanctuary city in action, they're walking it back. Walk it back. Y'all remember that song, Walk It Out? They not walking it out. The Democrats doing the other song called Walk It Back. Remember how the Democrats made them dumbass songs like We're Dumb, like No Fucking, No Voting, and vax that ass up? Well, here go a song for the Democrats, Walk It Back. Too many migrants coming to your border. Nothing but chaos and law and order. Walk it back. Walk it back. How you like that song?
Named Texas Governor Greg Abbott for continuing to direct migrants towards major U.S. cities, while acknowledging that progress is being made here. A new shelter at a former CVS in Little Village opened Wednesday that could house more than 200 people. But Chicago still has pain points. NBC5 Investigates found the city of Chicago alone has in the past year spent $156 million in operating costs on migrants, including $96 million that's gone to Favorite Healthcare Staffing.
Favorite Healthcare Staffing, the healthcare staffing company that manages the migrant shelter where the young boy passed away. They coming from the border, ain't no law and order, walk it back. Walk it back. Biting up their lion and Hunter smoking crack, walk it back. Walk it back. Yeah, walk it back. How you like that song? I think that the Democrats need to stop making songs, and I think they need to let me make the songs from here on out. What y'all think? If y'all agree, give me a thumbs up. If y'all disagree, give me a thumbs down.
To Favorite Healthcare Staffing, a Kansas company that staffs the city's migrant shelters. The governor said he was pessimistic that Congress would have to approve a bill that could...
Yeah, JB, walk it back. Brandon, walk it back. Now walk it back. Even Lori Lightfoot, she doing the slew foot. Walk it back. Walk it back. Oh, man. Migrant crisis going to tear the city down. Walk it back. Walk it back. Yeah. Oh, man. They got the other song that wasn't it. What's the name of that song? Called Rosa Parks with Outkast. What the fuck? Everybody put them migrants on the bus. Send them to Chicago. Oh, man. Them migrants in there like, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Oh, man. That's how when they ask them what city they want to go to. You want to go to New York? Yeah, yeah. Oh, man, because they can't speak English, so that's all they can say is yeah, yeah. Oh, man, that's bad business, man.
Could provide additional aid.
Short of that, are the state and the city just left to foot the bill until then?
Yes, and philanthropy. Yeah, I mean, we're doing the best we can with the resources we have.
Pritzker said he'd like to see state lawmakers in Springfield approve a supplemental spending measure that could help backfill the $160
Hey,
million
listen, man. Hey, you know what? Y'all just got me thinking. Man, these migrants been messing around, and these migrants been messing around and listening to all the Outkast songs. Because up in New York, at Floyd Bennett Park, they either got a Benz or a Beamer. Oh man, they either got a Benz or a Beamer.
Migrant crisis in the city. He also hinted, without sharing details, that there are efforts underway to deter more planes with migrants from arriving in Illinois. In Chicago, Bennett Haberly, NBC5 News.
Oh man, they in there. They processing they migrant cases. They like deep in immigration for these many months. Oh man, we waiting on Abbott while we pass around them blunts. Deep in deportation for these many months. We waiting on Abbott as we pass around them blunts. Oh man, they listen to the whole Outkast repertoire. You know what I'm saying? Damn. When all the migrants came from Mexico, and all the migrants came sipping tequila. Hallelujah, hallelujah. I be jumping more borders than I used to. Oh man. And all the migrants came from Mexico. Oh man, they got them checks and was driving with Cadillacs and blades. Oh man, that's crazy. Man, that's crazy work right there, man. Oh, somebody better tell them migrants. Yeah, man. Yeah. Shout out to DC Precise. Somebody better tell them migrants, you better get up, get out, and get something. Don't let the days of your life pass by. You better get up, get out, and get something. If you can't take a bus, you're going to have to fly. I can't recall ever having documents at all. Sometimes I'm just trying to get some free stuff from y'all. Oh man, shout out to CeeLo. I can't recall ever having documents at all. Sometimes I just try to get some free stuff from y'all. Every day I can't be found living life like a bum. Oh man, that's hilarious, man. Them cats live they living the whole Outkast life, man. That's crazy. It's that southern borderlistic buzz funky music. Get that sanctuary status. Them tax dollars coming in, you better use it. They gonna get high. Outside that shelter, they about to be high. It's that southern borderlistic playing that buzz funky music. Oh man. That shit is hilarious, man. Hey, people be saying how they be stealing hip hop. They actually live in the lyrics. Oh yeah, they absolutely stank on her. Facts. Oh man, that's hilarious. Yeah, they be singing that shit too. That's how they pile up in the car. Me and you, your mama and your cousins too. Riding in a bus that's rogue. Riding out to the border down closed. Oh man, that's crazy, man. They done took the whole Outkast album and decided to act it out. That's crazy. They say that art imitates life. Who knew?
Now to the latest in the migrant crisis. Mayor Brandon Johnson has taken a pause on opening new shelters in the city. And while the state of Illinois has housed migrants in hotels during this deep freeze, the governor's office now says that will not continue. Our political reporter, Marianne Ahern, on the story for us. She's here now with much more. Marianne.
Allison, there have been fewer buses over the last few days, but city leaders know that is temporary. Suburbs have been asked to help. In Naperville, one city council member, he suggests residents take migrant families into their homes.
Oh, they crazy as all hell, man. They are crazy. Man, what? I want to make sure that y'all just heard that. How many of y'all finna take a migrant into your house? If you guys are gonna take a migrant into your house, give me a thumbs up. If you're not gonna do that, then give me a thumbs down. To me, man, listen, man, it's a lot of people. Yo, if I'm gonna take my kids into my house, you know what I'm saying? Like if I have extra room, I'm not taking a migrant into the house. If I got kids that are grown or something like that, or a family member or something like that, I'm taking a family member into the crib first. If I can't take a family member into the crib first, then I'm gonna take a friend who might be in need or something like that first. But it don't matter, migrant or no, I'm not taking nobody off of the street into my house. Hell to the no, no, no. You know what I'm saying? Nobody about to do that. Hell no. Hell to the no, no, no. Ain't nobody about to do that. Man, that's crazy that they would even suggest that. How are they planning on shaming people if people don't want to do this? That's what I'm curious about. And real quick, shout out to everybody that's watching. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. We got 63 people watching. If everybody can take a moment, smash that like button. We got 55 people watching and we got 49 likes. If we could get those likes up to 60, that would be great. If you guys haven't shared the stream, please take a moment. Make sure you guys share the stream. Also, if you're not subscribed to my other social media or the other channels, take a moment and do that now.
As residents take migrant families into their homes. Chicago's deep freeze forced the city to send migrants to the Harold Washington.
Right, exactly, Deneen. That's a fact. They also have a homeless crisis, and the homeless crisis has been going on a lot longer than the migrant crisis, right? And there never has been a suggestion to take the homeless people into your home. Now, here go my question. If things start to go bad, what language do you tell them to get out in? And the thing is that, listen, man, if the city is not even, if the federal government is not paying the city, or hold on, if the federal government is not paying the state, right? And then the state doesn't pay the city. My question is, where is the guarantee that if you did do something like this, how would you get compensated? What's your guarantee that you're going to get compensated? Is there a guarantee?
Library as they wait for shelter placement. The city has not opened a new shelter since mid-December, with the mayor's office announcing the city has paused on opening shelters and begun planning for right sizing to address budget constraints.
Where are you opening shelter in Chicago?
CTU President Stacey Davis Gates participating in a roundtable discussion on how the migrant crisis is impacting schools. 5,000 migrant students added to Chicago classrooms.
Now, here's my question. Who's going to pay for the supplies of those schools? How many people have kids that go to a school where they give you a school supply list and then the teachers take all the supplies from the kids and then they divvy the supplies out to all the other kids? Have you guys ever seen that situation? If that's a situation that you guys have seen, give me a thumbs up. If that's not a situation that you've seen, give me a thumbs down. Now, my question is, are the kids going to have to buy more? Are the parents going to have to buy more supplies for the kids for them to cover the migrants as well? How is that going to work?
I think we all understand.
Governor Pritzker downstate today. The state had been providing hotel rooms for migrants, but says 200 migrant families have.
Look at that, at the Hilton. At the Hilton. You getting hotels at the Hilton, huh? You know what I'm saying? We're gonna have to do juvenile next. You getting hotels at the Hilton, huh? You know what I'm saying? You getting them 600 sheet beds with the covers and they quilted, huh? Oh man, that's crazy, man. That's crazy.
Providing hotel rooms for migrants, but says 200 migrant families have transitioned out of hotels to shelter sites.
We are trying to keep, in very difficult circumstances, trying to keep people safe in shelters as we're moving them on to more permanent housing and jobs.
The Naperville City Council discussed the migrant crisis last night.
Shout out to Sybil. What's good with it, Sybil?
And will not be used.
Shout out to Kai. Kai says Texas and Florida need to cover the cost. They're the ones busing them up north. You guys agree with Kai? If you guys agree with Kai, give me a thumbs up. If y'all disagree with Kai, give me a thumbs down. Now, here goes my question, right? I can kind of sympathize with what Kai is saying, but here's my question. Who's going to cover the cost for the migrants entering the border in Texas? Because my question is, while Texas is sending them to these other states, they still have to take care of stuff going on down there at the border, right? Once the migrants stop coming to those other states, those states are in the free, right? So now my question is, I get it, right? But now let's just say Texas didn't send them up there. Who's going to foot the bill and help Texas keep them from coming into the southern border? Because the same way that the federal government is not giving Chicago, New York, or Denver federal money, the federal government is also stopping Texas from trying to stop the migrants from coming in. So my question for you guys is, this poses an interesting scenario. What do you guys think would be the best situation to deal with it? Let me know in the comment section.
House or aid potential migrants.
Councilman Josh McBroom suggested perhaps residents will open their homes to migrant families.
We do have a very affluent community, a lot of big homes. And
is he going to open his home up to some migrants? Shout out to Kip Doctor. Kip Doctor says, and Texas is not sending all of them. Feds are sending them too. And some of these other sanctuary cities, like Denver was sending them, you know what I'm saying, sending people to New York and Chicago too. We can't forget about that. That was going down too. You know what I'm saying?
What I'd like to do is direct staff to create a sign-up sheet. So, you know, for individuals that would be willing to house migrant families. And if there's people that would do that, God bless them.
Mayor Johnson had invited suburban mayors for a meeting this week on the migrant crisis downtown, but the city says it is rescheduling the meeting, blaming the weather. However, multiple sources tell us very few mayors or their chiefs of staffs agreed to attend Mayor Johnson's meeting.
So none of these suburban mayors, as you guys can see here, and this is substantiated by what this news report is saying here, none of these people in the suburbs respect Mayor Brandon Johnson. They said, yeah, we're not going to your meeting. We're not going to your meeting. And shout out to Black Free Thinker, because I just now realized that Brandon Johnson has the dunce hat haircut. I didn't realize it before, but I realize it now that you said that. That's crazy that you would get it when you go to the barber shop. You ask, yeah, can I have the dunce hat, the dunce hat haircut? Why would you do it? Who does it? You know what I'm saying?
Now to developments in Chicago's migrant crisis.
People continue to face multiple problems at a shelter in Pilsen, including leaks. Christian Farr explains how City Council's Latino caucus is trying to tackle these real concerns.
So now, as you guys, I want you guys to pay very close attention here, because this is the Latino caucus, right? And what they're dealing with is more faulty issues in these shelters. Now, here's my question, right? If Favorite Healthcare got all that money, what did it say that they got? $92 million? Is that right? Am I right on that figure? They got $92 million. Now, my question is, if Favorite Healthcare got $92 million to take care of the migrant crisis, my question is, why are these buildings in the conditions that they're in? And how come they haven't fixed anything? Does that make any sense? If that makes sense, give me a thumbs up. If it doesn't make sense, give me a thumbs down. And let me know what y'all think is actually going on with the money.
And now to developments in Chicago's migrant crisis. People continue to face multiple problems at a shelter in Pilsen, including leaks. Christian Farr explains how City Council's Latino caucus is trying to tackle these real concerns.
More oversight and more communication.
25th Ward Alderman Byron Cincho Lopez says that was one of the conclusions that came after Chicago's Latino caucus met this morning. That closed-door meeting followed reports that Mayor Brandon Johnson's administration knew that there were issues at a Pilsen shelter more than a month before a 5-year-old boy died at that same shelter.
Okay, so shout out to Black Spider, because Black Spider has been on it with this sad child that passed away. You know what I'm saying? Don't even get me started. And as you guys can see, this was a Black Latino kid. You know what I'm saying? So there's that, right? Now, my thing is, what's up with Brandon Johnson and authorizing these migrant shelters to be installed into faulty locations? If you guys notice that there's a pattern with Brandon Johnson okaying migrant crises or migrant shelters to be installed in faulty or contaminated locations, give me a thumbs up. If you guys don't see that pattern, then give me a thumbs down, because we got the issues that were going on in Brighton Park. The area was chemically contaminated. They knew about it, and if it wasn't for, a luck of the draw, they would have continued to work on there. You know what I'm saying? But they didn't continue to work on there because the governor stepped in. Why does Brandon Johnson keep saying that it's okay to put people in these dangerous places? Is that something that people think should be addressed? If you guys think that that should be addressed, give me a thumbs up. If you do not think that it should be addressed, then give me a thumbs down. I think that that's something that absolutely, definitely needs to be looked into. And I'm not mad at that, Kai. I've said similar myself. You know what I'm saying? The only way to stop illegal, there's two factors. The first factor that needs to be stopped is to stop encounters, or to slow encounters to the minimum amount. The second factor that needs to be stopped is to stop unregulated crossings. You need to try to get the number of unregulated illegal crossings to zero. Those are the only two factors that need to be dealt with in order to control this crisis. Lori Lightfoot is sitting up here talking about fast-track migrant work authorizations. My question is, how will fast-tracking migrant work authorizations help with any of these sustainability issues that we're seeing currently? That's my question for you guys. And shout out to Shamika. That's my question. Let me know what you guys think.
That closed-door meeting followed reports that Mayor Brandon Johnson's administration knew that there were issues at a Pilsen shelter more than a month before a 5-year-old boy died.
Shout out to Two Factor. What's good with it,
We
bro?
have a tragic death, and again, conditions that are inhumane with no alternatives.
Back in December, 5-year-old Jean Carlos Martinez suffered a medical emergency at the shelter in the 2200 block of South Halstead. Video obtained from a source with connections to that shelter documented conditions in early December, with water dripping from the ceiling onto shelter beds and several children appearing to be sick.
All I want to make sure is that people are living safely.
But city officials pushed back in response to each of those.
Now, you remember, now the question that I want to ask, do you all remember at that meeting when Brandon Johnson said, they're sick? They're coming here sick. You guys remember that? If you guys remember Brandon Johnson saying that, give me a thumbs up. If y'all don't remember Brandon Johnson saying that, then give me a thumbs down. Now, why am I asking this question? I'm asking this question because now what we're seeing is evidence of faulty conditions at these migrant shelters, and those conditions could be contributing factors to why some of these people are getting sick. So then we have to go back and ask the question, well, where's the evidence of what Brandon Johnson is saying as far as him saying that these people are coming over sick? Because what we find here is we find that these migrant shelters are being put in places where they have no business being put. Now, if that question was asked, and shout out to Dave Brown, if that question was asked, my question for you guys is, what do you all think that Brandon Johnson's answer to that would be? What is his answer to that?
Those concerns that were raised.
Pipes with raw sewage and, insects, and then,
Wait,
food.
what?
So these are all, to
Raw-
me, these are all basic things that we need to be doing.
Hold up.
And, food. So these are all, to me, these are all basic things that we need to be doing very well. Living safely.
But city officials pushed back in response to each of those concerns that were raised.
Pipes with raw sewage and, insects, and then.
Why are there pipes inside that building leaking raw sewage and insects? That is trifling. That is bar bathroom floor, club bathroom floor, nasty level. How many people know what I'm talking about when I say that that's bar bathroom floor, club bathroom floor level nastiness? See, if I ever fell down inside of a bathroom at a club, or, you know what I'm saying, at a bar, if I fell down on the floor and I had on like a short sleeve shirt or something, I would be perfectly okay with getting my arm amputated, because I don't think there's any salvaging it after getting, being dipped or dropped on top of that type of filth. I'd be perfectly okay with it. Just take me right on to the ER and tell them I need a below the elbow amputation. I'm prepared. You know what I'm saying? I'll just deal with it. Because I don't think that any amount of soap and water or any length of time in the shower can properly cleanse you once you've been in contact with that type of filth. That's that type of filth that marinates and absorbs into you like you slow cooking something on the stove. You know what I'm saying? Now, that might be extreme, right? Like, that might be like a little bit OCD. But I don't like nastiness like that. You know what I'm saying? Now, you got raw sewage coming out of some pipes somewhere and it's falling all over the place on people. That is a ripe environment for serious spread of nasty diseases. And they need to do something with that. Because what's going to happen is those 5,000 kids that they said in the other video that are going to be introduced into the Chicago school system, what do you think those kids are going to be doing? A lot of times kids are not the best with their hygiene, and they'll probably spread some of that stuff that they contract at those migrant crises in combination with what they might have come with already to the kids who are at the school. AB Promotion said, flush the toilet with your foot. Bro, you try not to even touch the walls, or like, you know what I'm saying? You get like mad paper towels and wrap them around everything so that you ain't got to touch it. Yeah, bro.
Food. So these are all, to me, these are all basic things that we need to be doing very well.
In response to these claims, the mayor's office issued a response saying the city was aware of issues raised regarding conditions at the shelter at 2241 South Halstead and had actively been in the process of addressing the situation. Alderman Central Lopez says this morning's meeting led to some much needed changes.
Changes in the Department of Family and Support Services to make sure that we have adequate staffing reporting when it comes to complaints.
Alderman Central Lopez says that the Latino caucus will meet bi-weekly to try and address these issues with shelters and migrants.
So it says that they're going to meet, excuse me. It says that they're going to meet bi-weekly to attempt to address these issues. My question for you guys is, what do you all think will get done as a result? Will they come up with any type of solutions for this, or will it be the same as what we've been seeing? Let me know what you guys think.
Chicago, the city is scrambling to shelter migrants in its latest example of prioritizing illegal immigrants over citizens, while the Windy City has spent over.
So now here what they're talking about is the accusation that they've been prioritizing the migrants over the citizens. I think that we have enough evidence to say that that's not speculation. I think we have enough evidence to say that that's fact. Now, here's my question. That accusation of migrants being prioritized over citizens has been being thrown around for quite some time now. Would you guys agree? If you guys agree, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, give me a thumbs down. My question is, have you all seen any Democrat politician or any Chicago or any New York politician? Have you seen anybody on either side come out and say that's not true? Residents are being prioritized equally to migrants. Has anybody refuted the claims of migrants being prioritized? Let me know.
Over $156 million caring for migrants. Nearly 17% of Chicagoans are in poverty. 25% of students are functionally illiterate, and more than 6,000 residents are homeless. Here to react are two Chicago residents, Sam Sanchez and Kata Truss. Kata Truss, thanks so much for joining the program.
So I don't know if you guys were aware, but excuse me, Philip Scott actually had a interview on one of his live streams with Kata Truss, and Kata Truss has been at those city council meetings, and a lot of times she's one of the main spokespeople who talk to the media after those meetings. So she went on Fox News, and shout out to her for going on Fox, because I know that got some Democrats upset. Now, you know, I'm not cheering on Fox, which shouldn't have to be said, but you always got to say certain things as a disclaimer. You know what I'm saying? But it's good to see her exploring both sides, and it's good to see her exploring her options. And I'm also glad that she went on Fox, and I'm glad that she went on Phil Scott's podcast. You know what I'm saying? Because shout out to her, because one of the things that I've been saying is that if you're not utilizing the media that you have available, new black media, independent media content creators, if you're not using that, it kind of is an underutilization, and you're not using all of the weapons that are available at your disposal, which is why, to me, it should be encouraged for people like Kata Truss or anybody with any type of issue that's a black person that feels like they don't have anywhere to listen to them, to come holler at the new black media. Go talk to Phil. Go talk to TD Hip Hop Media. You know what I'm saying? Torian, Kid Gravity. It doesn't make sense to have those type of resources available to you and to not utilize them. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to her for doing that. People need to take what she did and run with it. Shout out to DeAndre. DeAndre said BLR. I would say, you know what I'm saying, BLR, but I'm not in the interview game, bro. You know what I'm saying? I be saying some wild stuff. I'm not professional like TD or, you know what I'm saying, Phil Scott. You know what I'm saying? I be doing a little bit too much. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody gonna want to associate You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody gonna want to associate with me because then that could come back to bite him. Oh, you was over there with him and he be saying all this crazy stuff. So yeah, I wouldn't even invite anybody to take a dive into poison by, if you're serious, coming to my platform for a serious interview. Now, I would be more than happy to go like on, you know, I'll be on an interview with like TD or something like that, like how we did with the reparations committee. But yeah, that's not the move to come over here for an interview. You know what I'm saying? I would love it, and shout out to you, DeAndre, for, you know what I'm saying, having that type of faith in me. But I'd be sitting up here lying, you know what I'm saying, if I said that that would be the move. You know what I'm saying?
Graham, Mistress, there are a lot of residents that are in poverty there. I see them when I go the report from the city. Are they getting any services while these illegal migrants are?
Not to the extent that the migrants are receiving services. And, you know, this weekend we're going to be hitting a stretch of very Arctic cold weather. And it's going to be colder than it has been in a couple of years here in the city of Chicago. Now, there are warming buses that are in place for the migrants. But I do have to wonder, are they going to provide those warming buses down on Canal Street where the tents are located for the homeless, or down on Roosevelt where tents are located for the homeless, or over on Division Street where tents are located for the homeless? Not only are the Chicago residents who are homeless not getting the same annuities that the migrants are getting, they're not getting help at all. They're not.
Now, here's my question: why are they not getting any help at all? And also the thing is, when this particular situation occurs, why is Brandon Johnson not addressing this? What is Brandon Johnson's plan for homeless Chicagoans? Does he have a plan? Is there a plan? What's the plan? That's my question.
Receiving the same services. Some of the migrants are being put up in hotels to prepare for the cold that we're going to have this weekend. No one is going through the neighborhoods where our home.
Real quick, ladies and gentlemen, while we got this commercial break here, take a moment, smash that like button, hit that bell, share the stream to your social media.
Homeless people are living and picking them up and taking them to hotels. This is something that has never happened. I was sitting in a meeting yesterday with the Chicago Board of Education where they were talking about a $391 million deficit that we're going to be facing. And so when you're looking and listening to things like that happening, you're looking at the money that is.
So now here goes my question. They said that they're going to be facing a $391 million deficit. Close to a $400 million deficit. My question for you all is, where do they plan to get the money to even that deficit out? And how do they plan to get it? That money is not just going to appear out of nowhere. So my question for you guys is, where is it coming from?
Being spent on migrants. You look at the fact that they are still pouring in by bus, by train, and by plane. You look at the fact that the Democratic Party, our Democratic president, has yet to deal with the crisis at the border. Our mayor is screaming and yelling to the government, to the United States government, that we need more funds. No, more funds is not what is needed. What is needed is for us to stop the bleed. Wow. What is needed is for us to cut the transportation to the borders off. What is needed is for our mayor to say we have exhausted all of.
Now, the white dude, if you guys can look at it, it looks like his brain is about to explode. Because he's like, we're not going to be able to do this hustle where we sit here and lie about black people all being Democrats and dumb anymore. And he's wondering why the black news anchor is not cutting this woman off or asking her an awkward question to try to make her look bad. You guys see that? He looks deeply disturbed.
Our resources, we have no more money, we have no more space, we have no more resources for migrants, and we have to stop at some point and say, right now we have enough. And at what point do we close?
Like, the white guy literally can't wait to ask her about gun violence. You know what I'm saying? Like, he literally can't wait to ask her about gun violence. He is seething. You know what I'm saying? It's seeping out of his pores. You know what I'm saying?
Close the borders and help to fix whatever's going wrong in these countries that have those people fleeing here in the first place. Those are the things that need to happen. We can't continue to pour out and pour into people when we just don't have the resources to do it.
It's such a good point. And I got to ask you, Sam, you said in your notes, you love your city. You've been here almost your entire life. And you just got to ask the question, does the city love you back when Mistrust just laid out for us what they're doing?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, she had all key points. I mean, definitely the city's been depleted of resources. I mean, resources that have been denied to communities that have been long forgotten for over 50 years. Schooling, education, job training program, the homeless. I mean, for years we've been asked for trade schools in these communities, and the funds are not there. Now the funds appear from out of
Now,
nowhere.
I want you guys to remember, right? Now, this dude, Sam Sanchez, is the National Restaurant Association board member. Do you guys recall in the video that we watched right before this, where they talked about the Latino caucus? One thing that they're not talking about is about how the Latino community in Chicago, like there's the Ray Lopez side, you know what I'm saying? They're split on this issue. You know what I'm saying? You got the people like Ray Lopez who like, nah, and the people in Brighton Park who like, nah, and then you got the ones who are working as thugs for Brandon Johnson. But do you notice how like nobody talks about that? Why don't they talk about that? Interesting.
For newcomers and migrants, even long-term migrants that have been here for 30, 40, 50, 60 years waiting for their work visas are still, being ignored, and people are coming in, and within a month they have a work visa, and what the elected officials should realize is that some of these old migrants that have been here for a long time have children and grandchildren that are at voting age. This is going to reflect on the next election, and I hope it does. The amount of homeless, I mean, I drive by the Roosevelt ramp, and it's in there. They've been out there for years in a harsh winter. Why can't we put them in hotels? I don't get it. I don't understand it. We're asking, why can't you take the residents of the city of Chicago and put them in a 4 or 5 star hotel with meals, room service, laundry service, medical service? I mean, we've been neglecting the American citizens, the residents of the city of Chicago. I mean, this is across the country. The border has to shut down. And I'm going to
real quick shout out to everybody that's watching. I appreciate each and every one of you all. If you all have not hit that like button, please take a moment. Make sure you guys hit that like. That is extremely important. We got 62 people watching. Shout out to all of you all. I appreciate you all for being here. If everybody can smash that like button and get us to 100, that'd be great.
Add this number. It's so important for people to know.
Shout out to Torian. What's good with it, bro?
Is going to help us stop this because of the remittances, the money that is sent back. Mexico gets $67 billion a year, Venezuela $4 billion a year, El Salvador $7 billion a year, and so on. I mean, some of these countries are in a race to send people over because this is how they grow the economy.
It's so
Without
true.
that, their country goes down.
Just got back from the border. You see it plain as day, Mistrust. I just got to ask the question, do you think the Biden administration has failed the people, the president himself have failed the people of Chicago?
Now, I want to ask you all this, and if it's anybody in the house that's from Chicago, you know what I'm saying, make sure y'all let me know when y'all answer. But do you feel that the Biden administration and the Brandon Johnson administration has failed you miserably? If you do, put an angry face in the chat, and also let me know what it is that they failed with.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And let me tell you something. You know, we are sitting here and we're talking about these issues, and we're still not receiving any kind of resolution from the Biden administration. We're not receiving resolution from our governor. And we certainly aren't receiving it from the mayor. I mean, because again, I say, at what point do you stop and you say, wait a minute, my people are crying out. The people here, the residents in the city of Chicago, the state of Illinois, in the Arabic communities in United States, where these migrants are being sent, all of these cities, the people are crying out, and no one is listening. They are just not listening. And you said that yourself that you just recently went to the border.
Real quick, ladies and gentlemen, please make sure you guys show the first stream sponsor some love. Shout out to my man Lloyd Sky 9 with the $10 super chat. Lloyd Sky 9 says it's snowing pretty heavy right now in the Northeast, and they are still sending people. Yet this is a clear sign of a failed state. The country is compromised beyond repair. I agree 110%, bro. I agree 110%. If you guys agree with Lloyd Sky 9, throw some fire emojis in the chat. Also, make sure you throw some radiation emojis in the chat for and show him some love for the super chat. But if you guys agree with that, throw some flames in the chat. If y'all disagree, thumbs down and let me know why.
So you see that nothing has changed there. You see that no one is really paying attention. And at what point do you think the people
Shout out to Mike
gonna
Mellis
say,
John.
wait
What's
a
good with
minute,
it, bro?
Yeah.
we're supporting these people and we're voting on these people.
Shout out to
and
Mike
they don't give
Mellis
a damn
John.
about
Again,
us.
make sure you guys show Mike some love. Mike has been showing the channel love and been a supporter for 21 months. Make sure y'all show him some love and throw some radiation emoji in the chat. Definitely appreciate you, bro. Definitely appreciate you.
You know, Ms. Truss, I think there's a lot of people all across the country, not just Chicago, that agree with you. And I think you have made it very clear, you and Sam, what the hearts of Americans are right now. While we suffer, the migrants get all the benefits as well. Thank y'all so much for getting up this morning from the Windy City.
All right, so there's that. And that actually was a pretty good interview. You know what I'm saying? Like, I thought it was going to be a train wreck because it was I thought it was going to be a train wreck because it was Fox, but that was actually a pretty good interview, man. I can't even trip. Now, this is a New York situation that just occurred. We've been talking about Chicago, and this stream is primarily about this stream is primarily about Chicago, but there's some things that are going on in Denver that we're going to be discussing in more detail, but I want to give you guys a preview of them because I saw these videos pop up real quick. So we're going to take a quick look at these. All right, we're going to take a quick look at these. The first video, and then we're going to get back to Chicago. All right. See, this is what I'm talking about. This is how this stuff gets drawn out. Let me see what time we got. Okay, so I'm going to try not to make this live stream over an hour because I know you guys wanted the Megatron stream. So I'm going to do that. But I want to show y'all this. This happened in New York, and they just put this video up. There was a security guard that ended up poking a migrant in some type of incident that took place at a shelter on Randall's Island. Now, shout out to Torian because Torian said that this would be the new crime wave. And my question for you guys is, why do you all think that there's so much crime and lawlessness regarding these migrants? A lot of this stuff's not getting reported on. And if they do report on it, they say very little. And then that's the end of it that you hear, which you got to ask the question, how are they going to continue to report on it? How are they going to continue to follow up on it when there is no follow-up because the sanctuary city status does not require law enforcement to intervene with the migrants? How does that work? How do you do that? Does that make any sense? You know what I'm saying? Like that's what we got going on here. But that's the situation that's gonna occur. You know what I mean?
All right, we need to tell you about a wild chain of events under investigation on Randall's Island tonight. A fight that turned into a melee outside the migrant shelter there. And wait until you hear who's accused of stabbing an asylum seeker. Here's News 4's Ida Siegel.
Arrest after arrest on Randall's Island this afternoon. Multiple people placed in handcuffs, all of them migrants from the shelter that's set up here. Cell phone video shows a man struggling on the ground as officers surround him. I need everybody to back up. More video shows another man desperate to get past the police, yelling, "My brother, my brother."
Like, why? I don't know why. If you here's my question: did you come to the United States to fight? Like, what's going on there? You know what I'm saying? Like, we really got to break this situation down here. Like, what's really going on right here?
All right, we need to tell you about a wild chain of events under investigation on Randall's Island tonight. A fight that turned into a melee outside the migrant shelter there. And wait until you hear who's accused of stabbing an asylum seeker. Here's News 4's Ida Siegel.
Arrest after.
So look, they said wait, they said wait and look who's accused of stabbing the asylum seeker, right? As if it's not possible that the asylum seeker could have possibly been the initiator of the conflict. Like, are you serious?
Arrest on Randall's Island this afternoon. Multiple people placed in handcuffs, all of them migrants from the shelter that's set up here. Cell phone video shows a man struggling on.
Everybody that's getting regulated on by law enforcement is a migrant. Like, what are y'all doing? Go there and sit down somewhere. Like, what are you doing?
On the ground as officers surround him. I need everybody to back up. More video shows another man desperate to get past the police, yelling, "My brother, my brother." His 24-year-old brother had just been stabbed and was being taken away in an ambulance. This man did not want his face shown on camera, but he says he saw two men get into an argument inside the shelter. A security guard asked them to take it outside.
What are you getting into What are you getting into an argument at a shelter for? If you don't sit yourself down somewhere, like, seriously, I want y'all to sit back, relax, and contemplate this. Like, what? What are you doing? Shout out to Val Williams. What's good with it, Val?
And that's when things escalated and more people got involved. He says he saw a security guard take out a knife and stab a migrant in the neck. Police could not confirm a security guard was involved, but they did say the victim was stabbed in the neck.
Do you feel scared?
Well, I don't know, but I don't see nothing. But
this man tells us he did not see the fight, but he says fights do happen here from time to time, often over theft accusations.
Try to take the stuff, the other people, and
stealing.
Just stealing.
Police say in all 18 people were arrested, but it's still unclear what role they all played in this melee.
Man, that's a whole mob. 18 people got arrested? 18 people? What y'all got going on over there?
Or how it began. The man with a knife who attacked someone is still at large, and that victim is in the hospital. Reporting from Randall's Island, Ida Siegel, News 4, New York.
Man, listen. All right, so that's what they got going on over there in New York City. We're gonna take a look real quick at this video. Shout out to everybody that's in the chat. Shout out to Sybil. What's good with the Sybil? Shout out to Patrick Tyler. We're gonna take a look, a preview of what is going on at Denver Hospital. Because Denver, now see, how many people have heard any reports of any other health systems being on the verge of being about to shut down because they can't handle this? The Denver health system, right? And again, most people are not covering the Denver crisis, and I do cover it. I've been covering it. Now major events are about to take place, and there's not a large record of online content covering what's going on in Denver. But it's gotten so bad in Denver that the health system is about to crash. So now my question is, when and if the health system does crash in Denver, if the residents of Denver have some type of sickness or some type of injury or some type of emergency, how are they going to get serviced? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section.
Arriving in Denver is pushing that health system to its breaking point. The Denver healthcare system is now saying that it has provided more than $130 million of medical care that it still has not received payment for.
$130 million of medical care. $130 million of medical care. What do you all think that particular number is going to do to the Denver healthcare system? That's my question for you guys. And again, shout out to everybody that's watching. We almost at that 100. If you haven't hit that like button, hit that like button. If you have hit the like button and you are subscribed, hit those emoji at the bottom down there by the send button.
The massive influx of migrants arriving in Denver is pushing that health system to its breaking point. The Denver healthcare system is now saying that it has provided more than $130 million of medical care that it still has not received payment for, with thousands of migrants contributing to that bill. Joining us now with an update is Stephen Federico, Chief Government and Community Affairs Officer for Denver Health. Sir, thank you very much for joining us. First off, what exactly is happening with the healthcare in that hospital? Can somebody who's showing up right now that needs care get it?
Yeah, thank you for having us, Sandra. So Denver Health is very proud of its 160-year mission of providing healthcare to people in Denver, regardless of their ability to pay. Just to correct one fact, last year we did provide $130 million of uncompensated care.
Listen, man, listen, I'm going to tell you something, man. You see how these migrants got all this? I recently had to get a CAT scan, right? I had to get a CT scan. Now, mind you, I got 2 health insurance policies, right? And this is a real story. Like, I'm not just making this up for sake of content. This is for real. I got 2 health insurance policies. Both insurance policies are the high tier option. That was the reason why I didn't get to do all the streams that I had scheduled a couple days ago. I had to go get a CT scan. It was like, I want to say maybe like around 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, right? I get there and the insurance rejected my claim. They're not going to pay. They didn't pay for my CT scan. I pay for both of my insurance policies out of my pocket. And I couldn't get the care that I need. I've paid taxes ever since I was born in this country. I don't understand how these politicians can justify this nonsense. I don't understand how citizens of the United States can justify supporting this nonsense. We're at a place right now, if you ask me, in the United States, where it is, if it's not obvious, it should be, where it's very obvious that the United States government is operating in a state of political insanity. And I don't know if there's any turning it around. It's not a big deal. You know what I'm saying? It's just irritating. I could have been doing other stuff. You know what I'm saying? I took time out of my day to go up there, and then here they talking about, oh, you got to call this phone number. I call the phone number. For one, I can't get in touch with nobody. And then when I finally do get in touch with somebody, they call me up to the desk talking about, oh, well, they rejected your claim. They're not going to pay for a CT scan. You got to talk to your primary care physician and see if they'll order another test. You know what I mean? Nah, it's just some routine stuff, Taco. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate it. It's just some routine stuff. You know what I'm saying? But it's just but my biggest issue about it is not the fact that I didn't get it, right? Because it ain't nothing life-threatening. It's that I could have been doing something else. I could have been doing something else. You know what I'm saying? And that took time out of my day. Real quick, ladies and gentlemen, shout out to my man Lloyd Sky 9, the third stream sponsor. Make sure you guys, actually, Lloyd Sky 9 has doubled down with the $5. So make sure you guys show him some love. Throw some radiation emoji in the chat and some flames for him. He says in Thailand, you can get a full checkup and 3D scans of your organs for like $150. Yo, I might have to catch a flight. You know what I'm saying? I might have to catch that flight. You know what I'm saying?
And a small portion of that is related to the recent arrival of many migrants. But the baseline for our hospital was at $130 million prior to the arrival of this population.
Okay, that would be an important clarification. So you're saying that all these migrants that are showing up at the hospital are not racking up big bills?
No, they absolutely are contributing to that. We estimate that we've seen about 8,000 of these newly arrived migrants in our hospital system, from emergency rooms to primary care to dental clinics. And of course, the lack of a federal response to the healthcare needs of this population results in their inability to pay for the majority of this care. So it has contributed to our financial distress.
To be clear.
Yeah, see, I think that they're going about all of these things just completely wrong. And you can tell in the discussions that a lot of these people they have everything completely misprioritized. There's no telling them otherwise. And it's just like, we're looking at the inevitabilities of all of this.
Clear, what do you think the federal government is responsible for? How should it be stepping in here?
Well, I think we need to provide basic needs to these populations. You know, they are coming to our hospital as patients with basic healthcare needs such as respiratory illness, GI illnesses. Some of them have baseline chronic illnesses such as asthma and diabetes. We're seeing severe dental disease in the population. Some of them have acute illnesses as a result of their arduous journey, living in unsanitary conditions, drinking poor drinking water. And so we're doing
now. Check this out, right? They made the choice to do all of that stuff, right? All of that stuff was a choice. They come here and get free healthcare. If you smoke cigarettes, that's a choice. But if you smoke cigarettes, your insurance, in most cases, will not reimburse respiratory treatments. You'll reimburse full primary care for people that make a choice to put themselves in a dangerous situation coming here illegally. But somebody that makes a choice to drink alcohol, somebody that makes a choice to smoke, you just out of luck. Somebody rationalize that. Somebody make that make sense. And shout out to all the bot enforcers. I definitely appreciate y'all.
Best we can from a clinical standpoint to take care of them, but we really need a system in place.
How many people were aware of the migrant crisis causing this immense strain on the Denver hospital system? If you guys were aware of this happening, give me a thumbs up. If you guys were not aware of this happening, give me a thumbs down. Now, why is what's going on in Denver important? The reason why what's going on in Denver is important is because Denver is a special situation. The reason why Denver is a special situation is because it's a smaller area and it's a smaller populated area, which means that everything that's happening in New York and Chicago is accelerated in Denver, which is why Denver is at this point right now. What we're seeing right now is maybe a month or two down the road for Chicago and for New York City. And here's my question for you guys. What happens in New York City and Chicago when their hospitals are dealing with what Denver is dealing with now? Because it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
To help pay for that medical care, to make sure that these patients get the needed care, get the needed medication, get the needed follow-up. And the lack of a structured system to pay for that is making it extremely difficult for our clinical teams.
What do you say to
And shout out to DeAndre. That's true in some cases, but in other cases, like there's people that are coming over from China. You know what I'm saying? Now, you know, even Russia kind of, you know, we put a lot of sanctions on Russia and it really affected their economy negatively. But for the most part, they're pretty stable. You know what I'm saying? So there are a lot of people that are coming over from those countries where, you know what I'm saying, we've intervened and created chaotic situations with their government. And that's something that should not be ignored. You know what I'm saying? And I hope when I'm talking about this situation, it doesn't seem like I'm being callous or ignoring those facts, because those are facts and those things should be considered. However, right, we do have people that are coming from places other than third world countries or other than countries that have volatile governments. You know what I'm saying?
There's some who might say that structured system should be our secured borders. They're coming in because they can, and they're coming in, and Texas has been inundated. Their resources are dried up. Their hospitals are overflowing. Their cities are paying a huge economic price. And so now they're going to other cities. And now this is falling in the lap of Denver. And as far as we are being told, your healthcare system is inundated.
Yeah, a huge shout out to our mayor and our federal delegation for calling on the federal government to support this population as they await additional policies that will call for their long-term viability in this country. But I do think it's important that we need to provide social infrastructure for them, places to stay, food for them.
Yeah, no, that's facts, DeAndre, right? Shout out to DeAndre. DeAndre says he's only quoting the left, who agrees that we owe them everything. That I agree, right? So now here's the question for the left. If we, quote unquote, right, owe them everything because of what the United States has done to them and their countries, what's owed to us based on what the United States has done to us? And my question is, why are the Democrats not dealing with that before they're dealing with this? You see what I'm saying?
And healthcare needs to be a key component to the response of this population.
And obviously, and that is your job, and we understand that. There's a huge economic concern. There's only so much that our system will be able to bear, and many others will have to pay for that eventually. And that is a question: where does that money come from? Your mayor, Johnston, who you just referenced, he said that there's a big problem with a lack of work permits for these migrants in what he called was a broken federal system. Listen here.
Okay, so see now, I'm going to pull this down for a second. Right? You heard what Johnston said. Right? You guys heard what she said, Mayor Johnston said. She said that Mayor Johnston said that the way to deal with this is through the work permits, right? I want y'all to see what Lori Lightfoot is talking about. I want y'all to see what Lori Lightfoot has been doing, because we're moving this back to Chicago. Remember, this is just a preview of Denver. We're going to be getting into Denver in a day or two. Okay? Former Mayor Lori Lightfoot calls on feds to accelerate migrant work authorization, launches effort to support local nonprofits. Really? Really? So if anybody was wondering what Lori Lightfoot has been up to, now you know. Now, here goes my question, right? How many people remember, it's been a while since I've done a video about the Undocumented Bros Global, and we will definitely be bringing the Undocumented Bros Global back. One of these days when I got time for one of those late Saturday night streams, we're going to be talking about the Undocumented Bros Global, because there's a lot to talk about there. Okay? But do you guys recall when we talked about the Undocumented Bros Global, and we talked about all of the European countries that tried to initiate this work permit type resolution, and the work permit resolutions did not work? They failed. So they already have a model of dealing with these situations in this kind of way and seeing that it doesn't work. So my question is, with that information available, why are they trying to force this? What do you guys think? Why are they trying to force this?
It is unsustainable in the current structure when we have 30 or 40,000 people arriving without work authorization.
What did he just say? What did he just say? What did he say?
There's a big problem with the lack of work permits for these migrants in what he called was a broken federal system. Listen here.
It is unsustainable in the current structure.
Here's my question for you guys. Shout out to everybody putting those no signs. Flood the comment section with the no signs. Here's my question for you guys. How long have we been saying that? How long have we been saying that? Now, I want you guys to pay very close attention, right? And the reason why I want you to pay very close attention is because as elections season approaches, if you're not giving the same narrative that the mainstream left and right media are giving, the very first thing that they do is try to attempt to attack your credibility and say that what you're providing is misinformation, right? Now, here's my question for you. If we've been discussing something and saying that something based on these variables is inevitable to happen, and we've said this months out, while the news has made no mention of it, and then the news decides to come around and start repeating what we've been saying months ago, my question is, who's the one that's actually giving the misinformation? Who is actually giving misinformation here?
And we have 30 or 40,000 people arriving without work authorization, without federal support, it is going to be a huge strain on cities. If you send us someone to Denver who has to wait 6 years for a court hearing and they can't work in the meantime, we're going to need almost endless amounts of federal support. I don't think that's what we want or the federal government wants.
So it feels like what he's pointing to is the process here. When you've got all these tens of thousands of people arriving without work authorization, without federal support, this is a huge strain on the local level of so many of these cities who have said, we welcome everyone.
Yeah, we're proud to stand with the mayor in response to this humanitarian crisis, and we absolutely need additional funding to provide a sustainable infrastructure to support their path forward. I agree. I think allowing them to work is absolutely a part of the next steps that it's going to take to provide the funding. But we also need federal support in the meantime, most especially around the healthcare costs.
Yeah.
You know, our staff are being asked to staff up, see extra patients, and then, you know, the moral strife that comes with discharging a patient, not knowing if they're going to have the money they need to fill that needed prescription, find transportation to a follow-up care, come back for additional care. It's extremely strenuous on our staff, and I really feel for them.
Do you have any doctors who are saying they just can't do it anymore, that it's just too much? I mean, is there staff?
Exactly. Facts. Facts, Deneen. Facts. Absolutely 110% facts. So now here's the thing, right? When we talk about these work-based solutions, knowing that these work-based solutions do not provide an expansion on capacity, they also don't provide an expansion on resource availability. My question is, how effective are work-based solutions to deal with the migrant crisis? That's what I want to know from you guys. What you then need to ask once you figured out the answer to that question is why do these news media outlets and politicians continue to put in our face nonsense about work-based solutions when we know that the work-based solutions only address 1 out of 3 of the root causes?
Staff that are saying that they're leaving?
No, our staff are very proud to fulfill the mission of Denver Health to provide care to everyone, regardless of their ability to pay.
Yeah.
Very much responding to the humanitarian crisis of these patients.
We understand.
But we're going to need additional support to do it and to do it well.
And have you had to turn away any patients?
No, so we'll always see patients, most especially through the emergency department, which is where we're seeing the vast majority of these patients currently.
Oh, okay. So because the headline everywhere right now is that you've had to turn away patients. Is that not the case?
No, we always see patients through the emergency department, regardless of their ability. Now, our ability to see them in follow-up is extremely limited based on physical capacity and the lack of resources to do so.
Understood. We thank you for your time, sir. You have a huge task at hand. Appreciate your time. Thank you.
All right, so there's that. So that's what they got going on in Denver. All right. Now, there's another video that we're going to take a look at. All right. And this video here is talking about It expands on talking about the migrant crisis as it's hitting the healthcare system and the attempted impeachment of Alejandro Mayorkas. Okay.
Political, but it's one unfolding in the midst of one of the biggest border crises in American history, as Christine Frizzell reports.
Winter means those already sleeping on the streets in subpar conditions now have to fear for their lives.
It's too cold. I believe we won't survive another night with these cold temperatures.
As some migrants wait.
So now I want you guys to pay attention. That when it comes to this, they already have a pre-written script. Literally all of the news, all of the media, it all sounds the same. The only time when you hear a news media that provides a narrative or a news media that provides some type of observation angle on this that is different from everybody else is when you listen to something that's from Fox or something that's extreme conservative, which is wild because how many different ways can you twist this? You know what I mean?
Wait on a bridge in Texas. Others await their next steps in big cities they've traveled to by bus. New York City Councilwoman Ina Vernikoff posting this video of migrants arriving at a high school in New York City. The Denver Gazette reporting on the difficult dilemma at its hospital, Denver Health. A surge in new.
Now we'll be going directly from this particular article here very soon. Very soon. Okay.
Immigrant patients from South and Central America, equating to 8,000 people and 20,000 visits, costing $10 million in additional uncompensated care in the last year. Taxpayers left to foot the bill, there and elsewhere. And in largely Democratic California, voters asked if U.S. borders are secure in preventing people from entering the country illegally, overwhelmingly said not secure, 62%. City by city, town by town, all roads lead to Washington, where lawmakers continue to work on solutions.
How are lawmakers working on solutions? And literally nothing has been done about this since it started. And I've been covering this for a while now. There's playlists that you guys should watch on each of my channels. There's the Undocumented Bros playlist. You guys should watch every single one of those videos. And then there's the immigration playlist. You guys should watch every single one of those videos. Because like I said, this has been going on for a long time. All roads lead to Washington, according to them, right? Okay, like I hear you. But now my question is, if all roads lead to Washington, what is Washington doing to deal with any of this? And they're not doing anything.
14 Democrats this week joining Republicans to denounce President Biden's, quote, open border policies as GOP lawmakers press ahead with their impeachment case against the man in charge, Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas.
As a result of the reckless actions by Secretary Mayorkas, no American is safe. I believe he's violated his oath.
Democrats argue there's no legal basis for impeachment.
This isn't a real impeachment. It's a predetermined.
Now look at your boy, Mr. Green, the chairperson. Caping. He gonna come out and straighten everything out and then get fired tomorrow.
This isn't a real impeachment. It's a predetermined, pre-planned partisan political stunt.
The hearing was the second of two on the matter, with a committee vote on whether to impeach Secretary Mayorkas scheduled for January 31st, likely to be followed by a full vote in the House sometime next month in Washington.
All right, so there's that. All right, so we back to Chicago. All right, we back to Chicago. Do you guys remember earlier when I mentioned how the mayors in Chicago of the suburbs, they have absolutely no respect for Brandon Johnson? They have no respect for Brandon Johnson. And when Brandon Johnson called the meeting of the suburban mayors just basically said, shout out to Stephen A. Smith. We don't care. We don't care. Now you're going to be able to watch it in real time.
Mayor Balderman, just to start, when were you first notified about this meeting? And from what you understand, what was the purpose of this caucus?
Well, with everything that I have going on, I don't attend all the mayor's meetings that exist out there. But through the caucus, I just found out last week that there was going to be this meeting that was proposed to meet with Mayor Johnson to discuss the migrant busing issue.
It was supposed to be today, right? Got postponed because of the weather. Do you think that's really why it got postponed?
Well, aside from being mayor, I'm also a school superintendent, and all my kids were able to make it to school today. So I don't know why a cold day would be a reason to cancel a meeting, especially if it's something that everyone felt was that important.
Explain to me your reason for not attending. And then I understand several other mayors weren't planning on attending.
So, right. So, I can't speak for anyone else. I can just speak for myself. As you know, I had a conversation on this program about an ordinance that we passed, an executive order that I passed, and an ordinance that we passed, talking about busing coming here and not allowing anyone to get off in our community from the buses, that we would be directing them to Chicago. I think there's a disconnect. The way that Chicago is handling this migrant crisis is something personally that I can say, I'm not happy about. We certainly want to work with everybody, including the mayor of Chicago. If he wants to tell us where he wants these buses to go, we're happy to send him to that location. He could certainly articulate that with the governor of Texas. But when Chicago took a stand, they passed an ordinance and said that they were not even going to allow their citizens, their residents, to have a say in as to whether or not they want to continue to not enforce immigration laws.
Oh. Oh. What do y'all think about that?
Talking about busing coming here and not allowing anyone to get off in our community from the buses, that we would be directing them to Chicago. I think there's a disconnect. The way that Chicago is handling this migrant crisis is something personally that I can say, I'm not happy about. We certainly want to work with everybody, including the mayor of Chicago. If he wants to tell us where he wants these buses to go, we're happy to send him to that location. He could certainly articulate that with the governor of Texas. But when Chicago took a stand, they passed an ordinance and said that they were not even going to allow their citizens, their residents, to have a say in as to whether or not they want to continue to not enforce immigration laws or to continue to be a sanctuary city, that they weren't really interested in what their own constituents had to say. I think that speaks volumes. This is a political game that's being played, I really believe, and I'm just
so there. I want to make sure that you guys heard that. So now it's interesting, right? This mayor here is bringing up the fact that they took away the citizens' right to reject the sanctuary city status. Is Brandon Johnson going to be serving another term? Now, a lot of times people celebrate because somebody like a Brandon Johnson or somebody like a Mayor Eric Adams is a one-term mayor and they think that they got a W. But my question is, how did you get a W from these people being a one-term mayor if they've caused 10 terms worth of damage in their 1 year? That's my question.
This migrant crisis is something personally that I can say, I'm not happy about. We certainly want to work with everybody, including the mayor of Chicago. If he wants to tell us where he wants these buses to go, we're happy to send him to that location. He could certainly articulate that with the governor of Texas. But when Chicago took a stand, they passed an ordinance and said that they were not even going to allow their citizens, their residents, to have a say in as to whether or not they want to continue to not enforce immigration laws or to continue to be a sanctuary city, that they weren't really interested in what their own constituents had to say. I think that speaks volumes. This is a political game that's being played, I really believe, and I'm disappointed in the way that things are being handled here at the state and at the city level. And quite honestly, we're happy to treat everyone in a humane way, but as the mayor, I've got a lot on my plate, and I'm not going to be caught up in this political nonsense.
Has New Lenox gotten any more buses ever since the ordinance passed?
No, we've had a few more that have come through our community, but none have stopped here. They have.
So see, they made sure that those buses are not coming through to their community. Notice how Brandon Johnson or none of those, the people that tried to stop these kind of things from happening in Chicago, they've been you know, they've had to deal with resistance. You know.
Have again stopped in the towns adjacent to us, and then were sent on their way. But no, we haven't. And again, I want to reiterate, we understand the crisis, the humane issues that are here, and we feel horrible for so many people that are just looking for a better way of life. But it's really frustrating as a local official when our federal government and our state government are just ignoring our immigration laws, and we here in small local governments are having to deal with these issues.
What do you guys think about what he's saying? I don't disagree with anything that he said so far. You know what I'm saying?
It's incredibly disappointing, and it's just wrong.
Did you see Governor Pritzker's ad in the Texas paper that he took out Sunday?
I didn't see the ad. I saw the letter that he had sent to Governor Abbott and saying that he wished during this weather crisis that he wouldn't be sending people here. I understand that. I mean, this is difficult, but the reality is, my understanding is that a lot of the people are requesting to come to these cities. So they're being sent where they're requesting to go. You cannot say we're a sanctuary state, we're a sanctuary city, and say, but only during warm weather days. I mean, that's
again, can't argue with that. That's what I was saying at the beginning of the stream. So now you have a mayor of a suburb saying it.
It makes no sense whatsoever.
And what he's saying right here is why I do not believe that Chicago's lawsuits against those Texas bus companies is going to fly. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Mike TV. What's good with it, bro? I don't believe that those lawsuits are going to fly. You know what I'm saying?
This is an absolute failure at our border. And like I told you the other day, you've got this crisis for people that's becoming a national security crisis within our borders. And the federal government and our state government are dropping the ball here.
Mayor Balderman.
Yeah, the federal government and the state governments are absolutely dropping the ball. They're absolutely dropping the ball. And then, like I said, they're not working on sustainable measures. They're not working on any sustainable measures to stop the two factors, the two root factors. The two root factors are to minimize encounters and minimize illegal crossings. Those are the only two factors that need to be focused on. But notice how all of the solutions that they come with and think they had these bright ideas, none of those ideas that they come with address either of those two things. Until they address those two things, we are not going to see any changes at all. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys are not subscribed to the channel called Magatron, make sure you guys take a moment and subscribe to the channel that's called Magatron. If one of the moderators could put the link for Magatron in the chat, I'd appreciate it. I'm going to do a real quick stream on there before I hop off and try to bust out some stuff. And if I get time, if I wake up on time, I might be able to do a couple more streams for y'all later on today. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my man Lloyd Scott 9 with the $10 super chat. Make sure y'all show Mike Mellis John some love for the 21 months of support. Shout out to my man Lloyd Scott 9 again for doubling down with the $5 super chat. As always, ladies and gentlemen,
walk up in the life. Yeah, I'm really talking my shit like I'm really him. Hold up, look, walking this bitch like, hey. Yeah, I'm really him. Talking my shit like, hey. I'm really him. Don't believe me? Come and see me. Got 3 wishes from my genie. Now I'm on your local TV. Y'all on tour, got demons. Say she wanna come and see me when I'm in a local city. I'm like, pause though. Please step aside so they can see me. And I walk up in this light. Yeah, I'm really him. Talking my shit like I'm really him. On God. Walk up in this light. Yeah, I'm really him. Talking my shit like I'm really him. I'm the realest from my city. That's on Money, that's on Kiwi, that's on Mamas. Niggas don't believe me, come and see me. I been dodging all that face. All these niggas working broke, but I been getting paid. All that know me from the street. Flexing for a feature, that's like every other week. Talk behind my back, I kick my feet up, have a seat. Cause at the end of the day, all these watching me as I walk up in this life. Yeah, I'm really him. Talking my shit like I'm really him, on God. Walk up in this life. Yeah, I'm really him. Talking my shit like I'm really him, on God. Walk up in this life. Yeah, I'm really him. Talking my shit like I'm really him. Hold up. Look, walking this life. Hey. Yeah, I'm really him. Talking my shit like, hey.